Boom, 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 boom. Now tell me what you gonna do, but it ain't nowhere to run. When judgment comes for you, when judgment comes for you, tell me what you gonna do, when it ain't nowhere to hide. When judgment comes for you, 'cause it's gonna come for you.
Nigga, this for water, easy, see something Charlie. Little boo guy's got him, and I'm gonna miss everybody out of row and flow like eggs. Look to the wild flag and pray for dust, and they play too deep for being sad. Little legs I got to be. Tell me your feature deceased, would it please? Marry me by my grand, new way you can go follow
God
them.
bless you, working
Back
on
on
the
Wrestling Network, welcome back to CrosUp. You're looking to look back at the week that was professional wrestling. This week I'll be running through results and happenings from Raw on November 3rd to Collision on November 8th. No PLEs this weekend, no special events, so finally getting the weekend off. We do add Impact back to the fold, but no special show this week, as I've gone through a pretty good roll of having one every week for like the last month or so. But we will start with Raw as always. We open with a recap of CM Punk winning the World Heavyweight title at Saturday's main event last weekend. Punk comes out to start the show in the arena. Does as usual. It's great to be here on a Monday night. And I think they were in Mexico or something like that this week. So but wherever they were, it's his usual thing that he kind of runs through before he does any promo. That he gets a "You Deserve It" chant because he won the world title, obviously. Punk says that we'll get to the difference between deserved and earned. He thanks his wife before saying the fans deserve it for being on his side. He also thanks Jey Uso for the match and the fight that he gave him, and he appreciates Jey for being a real main eventer and proving to him that he belongs. He even gives him a yeet after he says that. He hopes that they can still be friends, but he gets if they can't. Instead, Punk doesn't know how long he'll have around here, so he's got to hold on to the title for as long as he can. He said there's no Seth Rollins with a briefcase coming to steal his title this time, but then he does the spin over his head that Rollins did. And then Punk says he knows that there's a target on him. He knows that the locker room is waiting to get a shot at him. He brings up the names of Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker before saying he wants to test himself against the best. That means facing people like AJ Styles, Dominic Mysterio, JD McDonough, Finn Balor, Sheamus, and of course, even John Cena. Punk knows Cena doesn't have a long time left, but he's here for a good time. So come try to be an 18-time world champion. Why don't you? This brings out Logan Paul, of all people. Punk even screams, "Not him," when he walks out. Punk suggests that Paul go after the U.S. title on SmackDown. He even says, "I hear it's a lovely this time of year going for the United States title in the open challenges." Paul then talks about how he's got a great car. Punk is like an old beat up Honda Civic. But then the Vision come out and interrupt him after he says this. Heyman says he isn't impressed by what he sees in front of him and says Braun Breaker is at the front of the line. Punk has been champion for 2 days, which is 436 days shy of then they were world champion together when they were world champion together back in 2013 or 2012, 2013 when they were a duo back in the day, him and Heyman. As for Logan Paul, he needs to get to stepping, but Paul says he was here first, so the Vision should have gotten out here a little faster. Braun Breaker then takes the mic, saying that they've been waiting for weeks after taking out Seth Rollins and waiting for a new champion to be crowned. Breaker is coming for what belongs to him because Punk is keeping it warm for him. The two of them should get out of the ring before he whips them like dogs. Punk says it's time for a fight, so Paul can either fight with him or get out. Of course, Logan Paul, being the chicken shit that he is, goes to leave, but is kind of cut off by the Vision, with Breaker kind of shoving him down as he tries to walk past him. The Vision then goes in and beats down Punk, and Logan Paul actually gets back in and tries to help, but Bronson Reed ends up hitting him with a tsunami splash, and then Punk comes in with a chair and kind of runs Reed and Breaker off. We then go to our first match after commercial. We get the Judgment Day Girls defeating Nikki Bella and Stephanie Vaquer when Roxy hits Pop Rocks on Nikki after some help from Raquel. We then look at an announcement. Then look at the announcement for the Last Time Is Now tournament to see who faces John Cena in his last match. Adam Pearce has a tumbler to determine some first round matches. CM Punk runs into Jey Uso, who was thinking about helping Punk earlier. Punk asks if he's talking to Jey Uso or Little Roman. Jey says that they can take care of the Division tonight, and a tag team match seems to be set between the Division and Uso and Punk. We then get Penta defeating El Grande Americano via pinfall, following a Mexican Destroyer. We then go to the Kabuki Warriors. They are tired of the lack of respect for Asuka being the legend that she is, and they are ready to show their dominance over the tag division once again. We then get Dominic Mysterio. He comes out to the arena to cut a promo. He gets pretty good reaction despite being a scummy heel that he is. He brags about his greatness, and then Rey Mysterio comes out to return before he can get very far. Rey doesn't like that Dominic calls himself the greatest luchador of all time. He asks about El Santo, Blue Demon, or even Eddie Guerrero. And then he asks, is Dominic really better than they are? Dominic actually says, don't talk about my father that way, obviously referencing Eddie Guerrero. Dominic certainly thinks he's better than all those guys, but he knows he's better than Rey, who a lot of people would say is the greatest luchador of all time. Rey thinks that's a little too far. He isn't going to let Dominic disrespect Lucha Libre that way. Rey isn't having any of this and wants to stand up for Lucha Libre, saying as long as he's around, Dominic will never be the greatest of all time. And then they kind of fight a little bit before Dominic bails fairly quickly. We then go to the back where Lyra Valkyria makes sure everything is okay with Bayley after the Kabuki Warriors attacked Charlotte and Alexa after last week's match, just kind of making sure they're on the same playing field. We then go to Becky Lynch. She comes out and cuts a promo on top of the announce table, saying she has a lot to get off her chest. She's been going through a lot in the last few weeks. Her hot husband is injured at home. The Vision has lost their minds, and now she has a crooked referee obsession with holding her down. On top of all of that, though, there's Maxine Dupree, who the fans have believing that she is actually good. Dupree can go train anyone she wants, and it won't matter because Becky is just that much better. Becky then goes to leave, but kind of walks past the Kabuki Warriors, and her and Asuka kind of have a bit of a stare down before they go to commercial, and then they come back, and we have the Kabuki Warriors defeating Lyra Valkyria and Bayley when Asuka gets Lyra to tap to the Asuka lock. After the match, Charlotte and Alexa Bliss come in to chase off the Warriors, who had kind of been attacking Bayley and Lyra after the match. We then go to the back. JD McDonough and Finn Balor are ready for their tag team title rematch to get them back. When Raquel and Roxanne come in to give them a pep talk, Dominic Mysterio comes in and complains about Rey, with Finn not being happy about Dominic's lack of focus on what matters, which is the Judgment Day and the team as a whole. Raquel and Roxanne also won't listen either and blame Dominic for costing them the titles in the first place. So just all around kind of just hating on Dom for kind of losing the idea of what they're all about and focusing more on himself than the team as a whole, like I said. But then we go to the tag team title rematch, and the champions of AJ Styles and Dragon Lee retain against the Judgment Day of JD McDonough and Finn Balor when AJ hits the Styles Clash on JD. We then go to the back. Nikki Bella apologizes to Stephanie Vaquer for their loss earlier, as well as Vaquer having to defend her title against Raquel Rodriguez next week. And then obviously Stephanie says that's okay and kind of praises what Nikki Bella did for the division back in the day and how much of a legend she is for kind of revitalizing the division when she did in 2015 and such. Or at least that's what she kind of said. I don't know how much that's true, but Paul Heyman then comes in to see Jey Uso, who was always his favorite member of the bloodline. That's why Heyman can't understand why Jey would ever team with CM Punk. Jey says that Punk faced him man-to-man, which Jey obviously respects. He doesn't care what anyone says about him, but Heyman talks about how it is now open warfare with everyone involving the Vision. Heyman thinks Uso has a vision all of his own and wishes him good luck tonight. We then get our first two first-round matches in the John Cena tournament revealed, and it is going to be Rusev versus Damian Priest and Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sheamus. Neither of those matchups are particularly blowing my socks off, but I don't particularly see any of those four guys advancing very far or being the winner. So I think Priest and Rusev could be pretty solid, but Sheamus and Nakamura doesn't do too much for me. But then we will go to our main event, and the Vision versus CM Punk and Jey Uso ends in a double countout as all four men battle around a ringside area. After the match, they continue to brawl, and Reed is put on the announcer's table, only for Braun Breaker to come back with a super spear on Jey Uso. Punk makes the save with the chair, but the Vision grabs chairs of their own. Logan Paul then comes out, loads up the brass knucks, and seems like he's on Punk's side, but he eventually cracks Punk across the jaw with the brass knuckles and kind of stands tall with the Vision. We don't really know if he's in the Vision or if he's just kind of loosely aligned with them. Obviously, he's going to go after Punk in the world title, but he does hand the brass knuckles to Heyman to end the show, but CM Punk doesn't get knocked out and laid out. And somewhat the Vision and Logan Paul are associated in some shape, form, or fashion. But just like a few weeks ago when Styles and Dragon Lee, not AJ Lee, won the tag titles, the tag title match with them and the Judgment Day was absolutely incredible. Definitely check it out. Those four guys just have a lot of good chemistry with each other. So if you're going to check out a match from Raw, definitely check that one out. We'll go from there to NXT. We open with Fatal Influence. They defeat the Culling and Lola Vice when Izzy Dame kind of pushes Tatum Paxley out of the way and ends up eating the rolling encore from JC Jane and then gets pinned. We then go to earlier today. El Grande Americano wasn't happy with not having his own locker room and picks up Josh Briggs' bag and kind of scoffs at it. Briggs comes up and challenges him to a regular match, not a speed match, and Americano quickly accepts. We then get Lei Ying Lee from TNA. She is ticked off that Kalani Jordan cheated to beat Jordan Grace with the Knockouts Championship last week and tells her to prepare for a title match with her coming down the line. We then get Kendall Gray, our Evolved champion. She is happy with beating Lash Legend when Kalani Jordan comes in and interrupts. Kalani tells Kendall and her friends to listen to what she's about to say in the promo she's about to cut. Kalani then comes out to the ring. She says she doesn't understand why the people are booing her when they cheer Dominic Mysterio to do the same. Yes, she took her chance to win the Knockouts title and gets booed, while Lola Vice goes to AAA every week and gets cheered. The women who are jealous of her are the women who can't keep up with her in the ring, like Jordan Grace. The same people who booed Jordan Grace are now up in arms about Kalani cheating. She's sitting out at Gold Rush because no one, including Lei Ying Lee, is worthy of her time. Call her disloyal all you want, because you still have to call her champion. OTM is then in the back, and they are getting interviewed. They are back to chase everything, the championships and the rest of the teams out of the division. Chase U then comes up and says they want to fight. Andre Chase quickly comes in to calm everything down. And says going after OTM probably isn't the best idea. We then go to El Grande Americano. He defeats Josh Briggs via submission with a back crank. We then go to Ava with Kalani Jordan that says she will be defending her title at Gold Rush. Tyra May Steele doesn't seem to appreciate what Kalani had to say earlier, so she challenges her to a match later tonight. Not for the title, obviously, but just to kind of beat some respect into her. We then go to Miles Bourne. He wants Ricky Saints to save him a piece of Trick Williams after he's done with him, and Ricky Saints says that works for him. We then go to Chelsea Green and Ethan Page. They show highlights of them winning the AAA mixed tag team titles from the previous weekend. So more gold for old Ethan Page. And it ends up being a pretty big week for Chelsea Green. We'll talk about that on SmackDown when we get there later. We then go to a split screen interview. It's with Trick Williams and Ricky Saints ahead of their last man standing match next week. Trick says that Ricky can't handle the pressure as champion, but Ricky brings up beating Trick Williams at Halloween Havoc. That messed with Trick, who can't handle being in second place. Ricky says Trick had 1 foot in and 1 foot out of NXT since Ricky has gotten here, because he views it as a security blanket. On the other hand, Ricky winning the title is the culmination of him working hard, while Trick takes everything for granted. Trick says Ricky thinks like a fan, and the title belongs to a real star like him. They're ready to fight right now, and they go find each other in whatever interview room that they're each in. They kind of meet in the middle, and Trick actually ends up standing tall because he has a lead pipe with him and lays Ricky out. We then go to Zarya defeating Ren Sinclair via pinfall following the F5. This was a women's speed title tournament match, and this advances Zarya to the title match. We'll kind of get to the other qualifier. I don't know. Can't remember if it happens tonight or if it. I think it's actually on next week's episode, but we'll go through the show and see if it kind of pops up again. We then get Kalani Jordan. She defeats Tyra May Steele via pinfall, following the one of a kind moonsault. After the match, Santino Marella pops up on the screen and announces that Kalani Jordan will not only be defending the Knockouts title against Lei Ying Lee, but Jordan Grace as well. And Kalani is pissed. We then go to Sol Ruca. She says she's almost cleared to get back in the ring, but she wants to have her rematch for her North American women's title at Gold Rush. Unfortunately, it is uncertain if she will be completely healthy at that point, so Fatal Influence comes in and interrupts her. JC Jane wants her rematch at Gold Rush as well, and then they start to kind of argue with each other. And Ava says she has other things to take care of and leaves and doesn't have time for all this arguing. We then get Javon Evans. He defeats Saquon Sugars of Dark State via pinfall following a spinning top rope splash. We then go to Blake Monroe. She wants her first title defense to be in New York. But Ava says if Sol Ruca is available, she is getting the shot. And then Blake Monroe says she's offering an interview with her better half for next week. We then go to Tatum Paxley. She apologizes to Izzy for the loss earlier, but Izzy tells her to slow down and avoid the mistakes because they want this title around for a long time. Tatum understands, but she has one more thing to do next week first. We then go to the big celebration for the AAA Mixed Tag Team Champions, Chelsea Green and Ethan Page. Ethan Page knows everyone hates them because they say something and then they do it. They don't just talk about it, they do it. Like when they promised that they would win the mixed tag team titles, and then they did it as they knew they would. Chelsea Green brags about their success as well, and Ethan is ready to defend the titles anytime, any place. They're ready to celebrate, including a giant cake in the middle of the ring. Chelsea then wishes Joe Hendry would appear, so they both get ready to jump him when he comes out of the cake. Joe Hendry does come out, but he comes out through the entranceway. Saying the direct approach can be the best. Hendry wants the AAA mixed tag team titles, and then they start playing Joe Hendry's music. But this time, his tag team partner is going to be Thea Hale, and she pops out of the cake. With 2 pies, and she ends up pieing Alba Fire and Chelsea Green, and then eventually they get Ethan Page. So they all kind of end up with whipped cream kind of all over their face and being all pissed about their celebration being ruined. So somebody was going to pop out of the cake, but as they thought it might be Joe Hendry, it was not this time. So, but Evans versus Saquon Sugars was a really good match. Evans continues to be one of the better parts of TV on any given week. So definitely check that one out if you want to watch a match from NXT. We'll then go to Dynamite. We open with Tony Schiavone in the ring. He starts to talk about the national title being a new title that they're going to introduce in AEW, another title to add to the already a gajillion titles that it seems like they have. WWE's the same way. Both companies have way too many titles. You can say they have deep rosters. I don't disagree with that. I do think the addition of the women's tag team titles in AEW is a good addition. I will say the addition of the women's mid-card titles were a good idea, and have been. I would say the Intercontinental title has been presented a little bit better than the U.S. title, but I would say those are all in all have been a good idea so far. But AEW just doesn't need another mid-card title. I feel like they already have like 3 or 4 mid-card titles, and if you're going to give a mid-card title, give a mid-card title to the women. I mean, they already have the TBS championship, but that's kind of a monopoly under, a million belts Monet. So I don't think the guys particularly need another mid-card title, especially since you kind of already just got rid of one that you had before, with the international title kind of being merged with the Continental Championship. So you kind of got rid of one to merge it with another one. So I don't really get the whole idea of, it's nostalgia. It's the national title. It's a title that's existed in the NWA for a long time, but it's a belt for belt's sake at this point. It's just kind of, it's overkill at this point. It's just stupid. But Tony Schiavone's still out there. The ops come out to interrupt him. Joe saying he's not happy with Schiavone for the deal with Hangman Page at the end of last week's show. Hangman then comes out to save Schiavone with Eddie Kingston and Hook joining him. And then they challenge the ops for a trios championship later tonight. And Joe's pretty pissed, but he accepts because he wants to beat some ass. We then go to our opening match. It is a blood and guts advantage match. So they're going to do a best of 3 with these matches on the women and men's side. We'll see a couple of the men's matches on Dynamite, and then the final on Collision. Obviously, it goes to all 3. And then the women are the opposite. You'll have 1 on Dynamite and 2 on Collision. So Claudio Castagnoli defeats Orange Cassidy to get the Death Riders the first point. He defeats Orange Cassidy via pinfall with the Swiss Death. We then go to the back. Mark Briscoe confronts Kyle Fletcher, who hasn't responded to Briscoe's challenge for Full Gear. Briscoe lost him at Wrestle Dream thanks to a no blow, so he wants this time to be no disqualification. Don Callis then says he has an idea. They will accept the match, but if Briscoe loses, he has to join the Don Callis family. We then go to the Young Bucks. They haven't officially joined the Don Callis family, but Callis offers Kazuchika Okada as a testimony on what it means to join the Don Callis family and what success it can bring you. We then go to Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron. They score an absolutely unbelievable upset victory over Mercedes Moné and Athena when they hit the Babe with a powerbomb, and that's her finishing move on Athena to get the win. So, of course, they don't pin Mercedes, but I'm even more shocked that they pinned Athena. And this advances Willow and Harley into the semifinals of the women's tag team title tournament, where they will face the Sisters of Sin. So I cannot believe they not only didn't have Mercedes and Athena make it to the finals, but they took them out in the first round. I guess that makes as much sense as anything else. So, but yeah, Willow and Harley Cameron in the semifinals in this tournament, which I'm shocked that they took out Monet and Athena that quickly. But we'll go back to Tony Schiavone. He's in the ring to announce the Casino Gauntlet at Full Gear for the inaugural national title. The Hurt Syndicate, they've come out. They say they will be the first entrants. They come out with MVP. MVP talks about the history of the national title. It said that they even mentioned that it might have the original lineage of the NWA version. The Demand, which is Ricochet and the Gates of Agony, they come out to interrupt. Ricochet mocks the Syndicate for being old. MVP is ready to fight, but Ricochet instead says he doesn't want to fight right now, and says that he will in fact be the next national champion. We then go to the Jurassic Express. They leave the Young Bucks $100 to deal with some of their money issues. We then go to another advantage match where Darby Allin defeats Daniel Garcia via submission with the Scorpion Deathlock. Obviously, this ties it up at 1-1. And the final match will be on Collision, like I said. After the match, though, the Death Riders come in to beat down, with Orange Cassidy trying to make the save, but he also gets beat down as well. So the Death Riders stand tall. When they go to FTR, they come out to call out Bandito and Brody King. The champs don't show up, though, and we see their locker room door is locked, so they can't get out there. Back in the arena, Dax goes over to meet Bandito's family with some less than great Spanish that he unloads there. Harwood mocks Bandito's grandmother for being too old and does does the keep pulling his microphone away before she can say very much because he asks her questions, and she doesn't really give her the opportunity to answer. She finally slaps him, and Bandito's brother jumps the barricade for a brawl. We then cut to the back where Brody King punches through the wall, grabs Stokely Hathaway, so the champs eventually run away once Bandito and Brody actually are able to come out there and get FTR before they kind of bail. We then get video of kind of the history of Blood and Guts, what they've what they've done in the past, and kind of the matches that we have coming up next week in those. And then we get our first advantage match for the women's side where Megan Bain defeats Mina Shirikawa via pinfall following a running Liger Bomb. Like I said, this the heel side of the women's match gets the first victory, and they're up 1-0. After the match, they continue the beatdown, but Tony Storm comes out with a chair to make the save. The rest of the two teams kind of come out for a brawl. Mercedes comes out, but she kind of stops short of the ring. And then Chris Statlander comes out from behind to jump her. And the faces ended up standing tall to end the segment. And then we go to our main event where the trios champs of the Ops retain against Hook, Eddie Kingston, and Hangman Page when Hobbs catches Hook in the torture rack for the submission victory. And then right at the end of the show, they announced that Powerhouse Hobbs and Hangman Page will have a Falls Count Anywhere match next week on the Blood and Guts episode of Dynamite. But Orange Cassidy and Claudio Castagnoli would be my match of the night for Dynamite. All of the advantage matches were pretty solid, but just for personal preference, Orange and Claudio had a pretty hard-hitting match. So I would say go check that one out. We will go to Impact from here. It really wasn't. This is going to kind of sound strange, but it wasn't really an episode, but it had new matches. I'd say that it didn't particularly have anything live because I'm about to get into it, but Santino even says that next week will be a live episode, and this seems to be like a kind of just a compilation of matches that they have taped along the way. But it wasn't really like a holistic episode. It still was kind of a lot of highlights and showed some old matches and stuff like that. So, but Santino says we're still dealing with the effects of Bound for Glory, but we will be back live next week. Tonight, though, is open fight night, so it's time to see some people challenge some others. We go to Brian Myers, and he says that him and Eddie Edwards are headed for the tag team titles, so they need to start their pursuit back at those by going through the Great Hands. They end up in a 4-way match here to open the show, and the System defeats the Great Hands, the Rascals, and the Northern Armory when Eddie Edwards hits the Boston Knee Party on John Schuyler. We then get Jody Threat. She wants to fight Danny Luna. We then see the Elegance brand. They're actually in search for their own Mr. Elegance. So we obviously might get a new character that it'll play like be like the male version of Ash by Elegance, I guess. Ash by Elegance was actually in this skit, so I think this was obviously taped a while ago, as she is seemingly all but retired at this point. We do get that Danny Luna Jody Threat match where Danny Luna defeats Jody Threat via pinfall with the Lunar Landing. Cedric Alexander says he wants to face Mike Santana tonight, so that challenge has been laid out as well. We then kind of go to a documentary, or like a hype for a documentary on Dana Brooke. Obviously, not Dana Brooke, Ash by Elegance. Dana Brooke is who she played in WWE. But it kind of shows her retiring not too long ago, obviously, based on whatever injury she's going through or whatever she has going on. But they seem to be making some kind of like, little mini documentary about her, kind of showing where she came in her career and kind of what all she's been through and stuff like that. We then get some some promotional hype up for Final Resolution, which is our next special show for Impact. Nick Nemeth and Mike Santana kind of hype it up, and that it'll be in El Paso. We then see a couple of classic matches. We had the Hardys versus the Colognes from earlier in the year. Obviously, classic may be a stretch, but it is a match from a previous episode of Impact. But the Hardys took on the Colognes earlier this year when they were in El Paso, so that was kind of a tie-in to that. And then we go to a open fight night from 2012, and it is Bobby Roode versus AJ Styles. They didn't show the whole match. They showed about 8 minutes of it. Pretty solid, but nothing special. Just a kind of match on an episode of Impact that was pretty solid. We then look at Kalani Jordan retaining the Knockouts Championship on NXT, earning her spot in the Gold Rush Triple Threat, where she will be defending against Lei Ying Lee and Jordan Grace, like I talked about earlier. We get a sit-down interview with Kalani, who is tired of doing things the right way and getting treated badly as a result. She's already beaten a bunch of challengers, and the result will be the same at Gold Rush. We then get Ash by Elegance. Again, they're kind of showing her again. She's in Edmonton, and she is continuing to look for Mr. Elegance. Obviously, and it appears that they're going to have some kind of tryout matches to see who can be that guy. And the ones that they see tonight are people that don't quite impress them. And then we get our match that was kind of put together earlier, and we have Mike Santana defeat Cedric Alexander when he hits the spin the block and pins him. That would be the best match of the night. Like I said, it was kind of a compilation of random matches from obviously previous tapings and stuff like that, and even a classic match like Bobby Roode versus AJ Styles. So kind of a weird episode. I could have probably not covered it and been perfectly okay, but I just wanted to throw it in there because it did have some new, different matches. But we'll go from there to SmackDown. We open with a recap of Cody Rhodes retaining his title at Saturday Night's Main Event. Cody Rhodes then comes out to start the show. He talks about ending things with Drew McIntyre once and for all. He wants someone new to come out and come after the title, and is willing to sit in the crowd and find out who it is. Aleister Black and Zelina Vega then come out to interrupt him, with Aleister Black saying that there is a WWE Championship-sized chip on his shoulder. And then Zelina Vega kind of gets in his face, slaps him a little bit, and then Nick Aldis comes out and makes the match the main event for tonight to see if Aleister Black could possibly be a challenger going forward. We then go to Ilya Dragunov in the back. He is walking along in the hallway and runs into Tama Tonga once again, and Tama Tonga, of course, makes his weird noises at him. Ilya Dragunov that comes to the ring. He has another open challenge, obviously. DIY comes out. Tommaso Ciampa calls out Dragunov for calling him a jackass last week, which brings the crowd to call him a jackass, of course. Dragunov then says he's willing to defend his title, but against Johnny Gargano and not Tommaso Ciampa. Tommaso Ciampa, of course, is pissed about this, but says he will let Johnny challenge Dragunov this week. And then Dragunov obviously defeats Johnny Gargano via pinfall, following the H-bomb to retain his championship. So Ciampa may get a shot eventually, but it did not happen tonight. Sami Zayn is in the back in Nick Aldis' office. He wants to be ringside with Rey Fenix once again. Aldis, of course, turns him down again because he is not medically cleared and says that's not a request, that's an order. Sami Zayn agrees because he's not medically cleared, but he won't do this much longer, where he allows the MFTs to just continue to beat up on superstars without having any repercussions, seemingly. We then get R-Truth coming in after Sami Zayn kind of leaves and wants to be in the Last Time Is Now tournament. He says he was willing to put his balls in Nick Aldis' hands, and he actually hands him a couple of the balls that would be in the tumbler. But Aldis tells R-Truth that he's already in the field. This makes R-Truth mad because he didn't want to put his balls in the tumbler, and he leaves, and Nick Aldis is left befuddled beyond belief. So it was a pretty good segment. Obviously, R-Truth is a great comedy character, and as long as he's on TV, you're always going to get a good laugh. We then look at Jade Cargill winning the WWE Women's title at Saturday Night's Main Event. We then get Johnny Gargano apologizing to Tommaso Ciampa for losing earlier, but Fraxium comes in to kind of make fun of DIY, like DIY has been making fun of them lately. We then go to Jade Cargill. She comes out to the ring to cut a promo. She says that uh, will happen to anyone. What happened to Tiffany will happen to anyone who comes after her, because she is that bitch. She doesn't say anything else. She leaves. She eventually runs into Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss in the on the rampway, because they're headed out for a match. But they kind of have a stare down, her and Charlotte especially. So that obviously seems to be a match that we will probably see along the way, because obviously they're two kind of alpha females. So we'll see when and where we eventually get that match. We then get Chelsea Green. She is ready to win the women's U.S. title back tonight, but Michin and B-Fab come in to mock her. Chelsea says she'll be the best champion on SmackDown, but Jade Cargill comes in, scares her off. B-Fab isn't too pleased with Jade Cargill coming in and interrupting, so they will face her, and Jade and B-Fab will have a match next week. Nia Jax then defeats Charlotte Flair via pinfall, falling the Annihilator after Lash Legend pops up in the crowd and takes out Alexa Bliss. And this allows Nia to hit the Annihilator and pin Charlotte. And then Lash Legend and Jax leave together, talking about how big of buddies that they are. We then look at the announcement of the Last Time Is Now tournament once again, and now it's Nick Aldis' turn to pick some first-round matches. We get The Miz versus Jey Uso. Again, not a match that I'm super hyped about, but Miz, being a former rival of Cena, makes sense for him to be in there. And then LA Knight will face, we don't know because Nick Aldis doesn't announce it. Could be some kind of legend coming back for kind of a just kind of spot in this tournament. Could be Joe Hendry. He doesn't want to say his name because he'll have to appear. But we'll see who this kind of ends up being. Obviously, it's probably going to be somebody that's not just on the everyday roster. So we'll see who it ends up being. We then go to Nia Jax. She's in the back with Lash Legend. They say they are indeed buddies. And Lash Legend introduces herself and says that they are going straight to the top. So they will be quickly challenging for the women's tag team titles, in their opinion. We then go to the women's U.S. title match, and Chelsea Green actually pulls through and defeats Julia via pinfall with a rope-assisted roll-up to become the new women's U.S. champion. There was a little bit of shenanigans going on the outside with Alba Fire and Kiana James. Obviously, they get into a little bit of a brawl, and obviously Chelsea cheats a little bit, but ends up winning the U.S. title back. I think it's better off on Chelsea, somebody like Chelsea. She can be in kind of some skits in the back and obviously be kind of prominent with the belt. Julia really didn't do much once she won the title. So it's probably better to kind of back on Chelsea, who can do a little bit more with it. And, you know, if they were going to present it in big matches like they kind of do the men's every week, it would probably be do best on somebody like Julia, but it seems like they're not going to present it kind of that way. So Chelsea's probably the better option. But it was a very short match, was kind of goofy. It only lasted like 2 minutes. So, but we'll see where they kind of go with it from here on out. Solo Sikoa is then in the back. He wants more from his MSTs, starting tonight with Tala Tonga needing to teach Ray Phoenix a lesson. The team then leaves, and then the Wyatt Six pops up behind them to kind of obviously imply that they're going to continue coming for them. That seems to be the big match that they keep teasing. Charlotte is in checking on Alexa Bliss in the trainer's room as she got taken out earlier, but Dr. Asuka pops up and missed them both in the eyes. I think she gets Charlotte a little bit more than she does Alexa, but they do both get a little bit of blue mist in their eyes before the Kabuki Warriors bail. We then go to Tala Tonga. He defeats Ray Phoenix via pinfall, following a chokeslam. And then after the match, Tonga continues to beat down Phoenix, but Sami Zayn comes in with a chair to make the save. So apparently he can't be there ringside during the match, but he can come out after the match with a steel chair. So doesn't make much sense, but who knows. We then go to The Miz. He says last week's attack on Carmelo Hayes was a payback. before he starts talking about the Last Time Is Now tournament. He's ready to win the tournament and beat John Cena again, just like he did in the main event of WrestleMania, which he will mention every time he gets the chance to. We then go to the main event where Aleister Black versus Cody Rhodes ends in a no contest when when Drew McIntyre comes out and he claymores the ref, completely knocking him out. And then Damian Priest comes out as well and attacks Aleister Black. And then after the match, McIntyre is suspended once again to end the show. So I don't know I don't know what Drew McIntyre's deal is, but he gets suspended and is out with injury, or quote unquote injury, more than any person I've ever known. I feel like he's getting suspended like 6 or 7 times at this point. Like I don't know if he's just got shit going on or if it's just like how they seem to just write his character all the time. But I swear this is like the 10th time he's been suspended. So, but obviously he's not going away from Cody Rhodes. Based on how this kind of worked out, I could see them maybe going to some kind of fatal 4-way with these 4 guys at a future date, maybe at a Survivor Series type situation, but or maybe they'll be part of some War Games teams, but we'll see. But the match between Black and Rhodes had been pretty good, but it didn't get a ton of time just because obviously it was more about the interference and stuff like that. But Dragunov, again, U.S. title open challenge. If it exists, it's probably going to be the best match. And him and Gargano had a pretty solid match. I would say this was in the lower tier, just because I think it got a little bit less time than maybe the previous ones had, but still a really solid match between 2 really, really good wrestlers. But we will go from there to Collision to wrap up the week. We open with the Bang Bang Gang. They defeat FTR after Bandito and Gravity took out Stokely Hathaway, which distracted Harwood long enough for Austin Gunn to hit the Famouser, and then Juice Robinson followed that with a forward DDT to kind of get the upset victory, with a little help, obviously, but they do get the big win. We then get Kyle Fletcher. He is ready to beat up Ace Austin tonight and Mark Briscoe at Full Gear. Kazuchika Okada comes in to say that they will win because they are a great part of the Don Callis family, and says that they should be a team in the future and call themselves Proto-Kata. Obviously a dig at Mr. Takeshita. Fletcher seems to like this idea. He kind of seems unsure, but he does seemingly like the idea of maybe teaming with Okada later in the future. But we go to the match with Kyle Fletcher. He defeats Ace Austin via pinfall following a brainbuster on the top turnbuckle. We then look back at Megan Bayne and Marina Shafir joining forces, and they're going to be in the women's tag team title tournament. We go to Chris Statlander. She thinks Mercedes Moné has a lot of things Mercedes has a lot of things that Statlander will never have. But Statlander has the focus to be the women's world champion that Mercedes Moné does not. Statlander will follow her into Blood and Guts and then on to Full Gear to beat her once and for all to get her out of her life. We then go to the Don Callis family. They want the Death Riders to destroy Mark Briscoe and Blood and Guts, and then even offers to do them a favor in the future if they are able to take him out holistically. John Moxley says that they don't seem to be interested in have much interest in a favor from the Don Callis family, and then they just kind of stare as all the Death Riders start to walk off. We then get TJ defeating Hyen and Maya World when they hit the gory bomb into the pump knee on Hyen to get the victory. This was kind of a match of controversy because Nixon Newell and Elise that had teamed previously were supposed to be the team that lost this match, but they kind of walked out because it wasn't going to get the proper amount of time. We then go to Athena. She is annoyed after getting pinned by Harley Cameron, who is actually getting a Ring of Honor women's title match later this month. But she says she's more focused on Blood and Guts, and then she wants to retain the title on against Harley Cameron. So she wants some revenge for taking the pinfall in the tag match the other day. We then go to Jamie Hayter. She defeats Sky Blue via pinfall following the Haterade. This ties up the best of 3 at 1-1. So we'll see if the heels or the faces get the advantage in the women's Blood and Guts match. After the match, the Triangle of Madness run in for the beatdown, but Harley Cameron and Willow come out and make the save. We then go straight into the next advantage match, and Tekla defeats Harley Cameron via pinfall following a spear. This means the heels get the blood and guts advantage with the victory. We then go to Jet Speed. They aren't done with FTR, but they are going to put themselves individually in the Casino Gauntlet for the national title. It says if it has to come down to the both of them, they will gladly face off, and may the best man win. We then go to the Acclaimed. Anthony Bowens acclaims that they are done. He claims is what I mean. Obviously, I was just trying to make a little bit of a terrible joke there. He and Max Caster will both be in the tailgate brawl at Full Gear, but Tony Khan insists that there's more interest and they make more money on merch and there's just a lot more interest in them as a team when they work together and not separately. And then they both just kind of lose their minds. It says they won't be at the tailgate brawl, and they both refuse to go work the match if they have to work together. So just continued hatred between the two of them, and they want nothing to do with each other, despite the fact that they're constantly paired with one another. We then go to a video for Hangman versus Samoa Joe, and also the match between Powerhouse Hobbs and Hangman that will happen Wednesday. We then get informed that Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat will both be at the Blood and Guts show. Who cares? Deep down for me, but they have a lot of, obviously Flair has a lot of history in war games, so it makes sense for him to be there. But we go to the main event, and it's the other advantage match, and Roddy Strong actually scores a victory over Jon Moxley. It is via countout when Moxley's trying to get back into the ring, but somebody grabs his foot from under the ring. So obviously Darby prevents him from getting back in, and he gets counted out. So the conglomeration, Darby Allin, it's mostly the conglomeration, but Darby's on the team as well. But the faces get the advantage match, or get the advantage in the Blood and Guts match in the men's version. So obviously the heels were going to get one side, women, so we're going to go another way. So as soon as you knew the heels were going to get the advantage in the women's match, you knew the faces were odds are going to get the advantage in the men's side. So, but Fletcher and Ace was a great match. I would definitely check that one out. Ace Austin was always a favorite of mine in Impact. He was always a guy I look forward to seeing wrestle, and obviously Fletcher is a favorite of mine. So definitely go out of your way and check that one out. It got a pretty solid bit of time. They really beat the crap out of each other, pulled out some really cool moves. So definitely check that one out if you have a little time to check out a few matches that I mentioned tonight. But that one was definitely one of the higher ones of the week for sure. So, but that's another week. Hopefully you continue to enjoy the show. I appreciate, I enjoy doing it every week. I appreciate anyone that listens, and I will continue to do it as long as you continue to listen. So thank you as always, and we will see you next week. Crowd is here, about to